Greetings of peace, friends. My name is the Rev Dr. Shaun Whitehead, and what a gift and blessing it is to gather in Holy Week on this Holy Thursday, this Maundy Thursday, when we examine Jesus's last acts, his lessons, his love on the way to the cross. Maundy, which comes from the Latin mandatum, meaning commandment, for it is on Maundy Thursday where Jesus gives his disciples one last commandment, where he says in the Gospel of John, chapter 13, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples. In his final teachings, Jesus essentially says to his disciples, and love looks like this. Do this. But the time is past for long lessons. His final lessons are urgent, practical, and truly embodied. It was the time of the Passover, and on that last night with his disciples, Jesus instituted what we know in our various traditions as Holy Communion or the Eucharist or the Lord's Supper. And Jesus says, let's have a meal and let me share a few things with you. His teachings are so ordinary that one could almost miss it, but that's the point. God, through Jesus, is calling us to work on not missing it. God is trying to help us pay attention to the ordinary and to see how profound and weighty love truly is. Jesus institutes the quality of love that he expects from his disciples, for it is the kind of love that lays down its life for friends. But as we accept this gift of God's love through Jesus, this is not a passive exchange or transaction where we simply receive this great expression of love. Amen? This love, in return, requires of us to love one another. And loving one another sounds so simple, so benign, until we are faced with the ever-present reality of loving the unlovable. Herein lies our challenge. Do I have a witness? How simple it is to exchange love for love. But friends, we will discover that this journey calls on us to love in the face of hatred, to love in the face of persecution, to love in the presence of intolerance and injustice and judgment. You see, this is not an idle, easy, passive love. I'm talking about what Dr. King says is redemptive goodwill for all of humankind. When we emulate Jesus, we love those even undeserving of our love. For surely the disciples were not always deserving of the love of Jesus. And he continues teaching them, essentially saying, love looks like this, when he gets on bended knee and like a slave or servant begins washing his disciples' feet. Where Jesus connects the Last Supper with a call to service. He displays his love for them by washing their feet as a servant would. He is the teacher, but takes the role of a servant and performs the lowliest task in the house to the one who will betray him and those who would deny him. But he washes the feet of all, and the message is so very clear. Go and do likewise. Foot washing, friends, is a transformative experience because everyone is vulnerable. Everyone must confront their discomfort, the giver and the receiver. This is transformative, especially as I think about how low one must bend to wash feet. And we too must bend low and leave lofty places to be with God and God's people. Do I have a witness here today? Because some of us are low in spirit. Some of us are low because of depression. Some are low or on the lowest rung of the societal ladder because of structural inequality. Some are low because of addiction and sexual assault. Some are low because of grief. Some are low because of racism and sexism and ableism and ageism and xenophobia and transphobia and homophobia. But like Jesus, we must get on bended knee for one another in our hearts, our minds, our souls, and in our bodies sometimes, in our activism, in our ministries, in our very lives. For as the Reverend Dr. William Barber says, if you lift from the bottom, everyone gets lifted. On this Maundy Thursday, remember, love looks like this, friends. Go and do likewise. God bless you.